All right, folks, we are going to start off on our Trammel Toy journey, aka Crank Toy, I might call it sometimes, which is a little toy that just cranks around and has these two little slide blocks that just move in and out like so. And we're going to be building this and putting it together. So I stole this video, by the way, from Austin Williams, who does his Learn It, Do It, Make It channel. That's him. So just to show you how that works. All right, so here we go. All right, so let's start by going into Onshape. It's going to look a little different than yours, but while you are in my Onshape, please create a new folder. I'm going to do this a little differently this semester. And please call that folder your last name. Please capitalize your first initial and just call it IED. Well, let's call it IED semester SEM period 2. Okay, so last name, first initial, IED semester 2. Create. All right. Now, before we go on, that folder that just showed up, we're going to right click on that folder and hit share. It won't work to come up here to this little button. You have to do it down here where the folder is showing up. Share, and please share that with your teacher. In this case, it's going to be bklatt@centerusd.org. And I think you've shared things with me before, so it might already be there that you can just click on. If your teacher is someone else, they may instruct you to do that. And we're going to hit share. Okay. And that way I will get an email that shows that you have shared that with me, and that's part of the assignment. Okay, so please go into this folder. And we're going to now, within this folder, notice it says My Onshape and it says that I'm in this folder. We're going to create a document. And we're going to call that document Trammel Toy. Trammel Toy. Okay. All right, now this brings us up to our normal part studio, and we're going to start working this. We're going to do what's called a bottom-up design. So we're going to use existing parts to kind of build off of so that we can do less work, right? We want to do the least we can to get to the result we want. So this thing is in your my PLTW for activity 1.3 something is this horrible drawing that I hate because this is not following dimensioning procedures very well. I mean, your dimension should not overwhelm the object, and it doesn't have hole sizes and some things like this. But this is the general base plate for this Trammel Toy, and there's two pieces actually put together. As you can see by this this view. So there is a top plate and there is a bottom plate, and we are going to build both of those. Now, you don't have to remember all these numbers because I'm going to give them to you as we go along. I will be looking at the cheat sheet. Let's go ahead and get going, shall we? All right, here we go. So since it's kind of sitting on the ground, let's build this on the top. I'm going to use a couple of shortcuts this time to start getting a little faster. So I'm going to right click on the top view and hit new sketch. Now, while it's there, instead of doing my menu thing, P will on your keyboard will get rid of planes, and then N will bring you normal to the sketch plane. So we'll be a little faster with that stuff this time. I'm going to go ahead and keep the origin there. And let's draw a 2-point rectangle, corner-to-corner rectangle to start off with. Hook up to your origin, come out, and it's going to be 4.25 each direction. Oops, I got to click first. Click. 4.25. Enter gets you to the other side. Let's say you forgot. I'm going to do it on purpose and just click. Okay, and whoops, I forgot to do the other way. Don't forget, you can always just go hit dimension and say, I want to make that 4.25. All right, so there is our overall base plate. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extrude around a bunch of stuff. So let's put our things in here first that we're going to need. There's going to be a rectangle down here that is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. So I'm going to approximate it here. Click. It's going to be 1.25. Enter 1.25. Okay, again, you can always use your dimension tool. And then from each edge to edge, it is, I believe, 4.06. I'm going to drag these out a bit. I like to keep my drawing clean as I go along. And it is 0.406 each direction. So let's use our dimension tool. From here to there is 0.406. And it's the same thing the other way. And once I'm done with that, it should all turn black. Okay, nothing should be blue because I've defined everything. There is going to be another rectangle up here, and that is 1/2 inch by 1 3/4 inch. So we're going to click on corner rectangle. This time I'm going to hook up to this edge because it's hooked up there. Pull out, and this is going to be 1.75 long and 0.5 wide. And it is hooked up to the edge, and it is dimensioned so that the top edge to the top edge of the plate is 0.5. All right, and again, everything's black. Now there's a bunch of holes in here also. So now we'll worry about these. There's a total of 9 holes. There's 2 patterns of 4, and then there's this kind of loner up here. And we'll make those next. All right, so in order to do that, let's go ahead and just place 4 points over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's place 4 points down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll worry about that loner one later. Now, before I start dimensioning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these holes up because they are lined up together with a horizontal constraint. I'm going to horizontal constrain those 2, and those 2, and these 2, and these 2. And now I'm going to do a vertical constraint. Do kind of the same thing with these 2, these 2, these 2, and these 2. All right, now I can do my dimensioning. So we're going to do dimensioning from this edge to this point. It's a little hard to see with that guy in there. And that is going to be, again, 0.406. Now we're going to go this way. Guess what the dimension is? From there to there is 0.406. Actually, I'm not sure that that's that way. I might have done that wrong. Let's hit escape a couple times to get out of the dimension. I'm going to delete that because it might not be quite right. Okay. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. So what's going to happen instead, the drawing says that from this bottom to this guy is 2.75. Let's do that. So it's going to start getting a little crowded here. From the bottom to that one is 2.75. And then now I'm going to have to stretch some things out a little bit. I hit escape. I'm going to move things just so I can see what I'm doing. They can overlap each other. I mean, you can do stuff like this if you want, but then it becomes hard to see what you're doing. So I try to keep the longest dimensions outward. All right, now dimension again. We're going to dimension from the bottom to this guy. Oops. Now be careful of that. I've noticed that I can do an aligned or an angular dimension, but make sure that it's straight because we don't want to go off at that weird angle. And that is 2.875, otherwise known as 2 7/8. Whoops, that is not what I meant to do. What did I do? What did I do there? 3 7/8. I'm sorry. 3.875. There we go. All right. Now, notice that we're okay this way. Now, these are lined up, so as long as we get our dimensions this way, we should be okay. So the next dimension is up here from this edge to that point is 1.406. Enter. And notice this little guy turned black because it's locked to this one horizontally and that one vertically. All right, let's do these four next. And these four are a little different, so don't assume. So our dimension from here to the bottom, I don't know why that's not showing up. Escape is your friend. Let's try that again. From the bottom to the point is 0.375. Okay. And to the top is 1.5. So I'm looking at my drawing, so you don't have to. I don't know why it's keeping on doing that. Let me escape. Let's try that again. From this edge to that point is 1.5. And we're now going to go the other way, which is from this point here, which is going to be 2.75 to the first one. So from this edge or that corner to this point is 2.75. And to the last point, dimension from there to there. I think it doesn't like when I do corners. So let's just click dimension again. That edge to that point is 3.875. Okay, notice they all turn black. And now finally we've got one little hole that's going to be up here somewhere. So let's place a point somewhere around in here, and that point is 2.875 from the bottom dimension, from the bottom edge to the point, 2.875, and then it's in 0.75. And I think I'll do that in the object because we're not dimensioning on paper here. We're just dimensioning to show locations of things. Didn't like it again. Let's click dimension again. You might not be having these weird problems. I am. And that is 0.75. All right. Now, these circles, the holes that we're going to make, normally I would make holes instead of circles, but because this is a little bit different and we have a lot of different sizes, I want to see them, we're going to put that in now. So let's use our circle command and put a small circle on each one of these, and then we will go back and we will dimension them. So I've got the circle command on each one of these points. I'm going to put a circle. Actually, we can put them in as we go along. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to undo that. So in the pattern, the upper left corner is going to be a 2.30 circle. So let's do that as we go along. By the way, C on your keyboard gets you the circle command, so you don't have to actually go click it. So we're up here. Okay, I'm going to click, and then that's going to allow me to place it. That is going to be 0.230. Enter. Same thing down here on the upper left. Click. 0.230. Now, The corner, these two corners, upper right and lower left, are both going to be 0.177. So we can do all four of these. Click, click, 0.177. Same thing here. Same thing here. And same thing here. All right. And the lower right, the bottom right, is 0.191 for both. So we're going to click here, click, 0.191, and same thing down here. Click, 0.191. All right. And finally, there's going to be a hole right here that is a 0.2 hole. So let's click on that. Click, pull, click, 0.2. All right. Congratulations. We have finished doing that plate. This is was a little bit of a long way around. It's getting kind of crowded, but that's okay. We're going to extrude it and finish this guy up. All right. So let's go ahead and once we know we've got everything right, click check. We look good. I like to kind of tilt things a little bit before I do an extrude. Now it is important that we extrude the right way. This is the top plate, so we're going to extrude upward. That is important for when we build the bottom plate. We're going to build the bottom plate off of this. So let's extrude. Click anywhere in an open area, and it's going to extrude that area around it and leave all the holes in the slots and things, and that's what we want. And we want it is going the right way, and I want to go 0.25. Cool. And there is our little base plate. All right. Now, on the bottom, there is going to be some holes that, and it's going to be confusing because remember, this is a bottom view. We have flipped it all the way around. So when we look at that, I want to make sure that I flip it down and then down again to look at it. Okay, so that's going to be important that we figure this one out. And it's going to have two hexagons or 4 hexagons total that a head of a bolt's going to fit into, and then a little hole that a round screw is going to fit into. All right, here we go. So let's do this and make sure we're looking at the bottom. So the easiest way to do this is let's go ahead and click on the top of the view cube to bring ourselves normal to it, and then we're going to flip it all the way around. So I think I'm going to, yeah, on this top, if we flip this guy around to the front, and then we're looking at the bottom, that's what we want to look at. We want to look at the bottom, okay, in this orientation. So make sure this slots down here on the lower right, the square is up on the top. We're going to sketch now on this surface. And let's start by drawing a rectangle from corner to corner. Corner to corner rectangle, this point to that point. Okay, that'll get us our parts. Now we need to do I'm looking at a drawing right now. So the hexagons are on this side, these two corners here. So I'm going to put some points on that point and this point. They're probably those two holes that were the same. And then the same down here is this point and this point. You'll see a little square show up in the circle. That's what you want. It's hard to see, but you want that square to show up. You don't want to, I don't want to project the circle. So if you did that, undo, 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 I only want the point in the middle. So when that little square shows up, I do that right? There we go. That's what we want. Click. Oh, I messed up on that one. Undo. Point. I meant to do upper right and lower left for these. All right, and then also there's going to be a hole here that we're going to click on. All right, now we've got our points. Now, so I don't get confused, I am going to turn off part 1. Okay, and that will get rid of those things and leave me with my sketch that I want. All right, so let's start with this little loner guy right there. C for circle. I'm going to put a circle right there. Click. It's going to be 0.375. And other ones are hexagons. So we're going to come up here to our polygon, and I think by default it's a hexagon. We're going to click on the point. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see what we're doing. Click, pull. Now I'm going to rotate it so that it's flat. There you go. Look for that little yellow line that shows that we're lined up horizontally for the flats. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what we want. Click it. You can change the number of sides. Make sure they're 6. Click again. Okay, and we're going to do that for all of those 4 points. Click, pull out, make sure it's flat. Click again, make sure there's 6 sides. Click. Okay, same thing down here. Click, pull out, click again, make sure there's 6. And last one. And make sure they're all straight. Oops, that's 5. There we go. 6 sides. Make sure they're all 6-sided hexagons. Now we are going to size these guys by using the dimension tool. And we're going to go from the top flat to the bottom flat. Click, click, pull away, click once, and these guys are 0.422. Now you can dimension all of them if you want. Now, for whatever reason, polygons stay blue. I think it's because I haven't defined for sure to make them not rotated, so don't worry about the blue this time. Rather than dimension all of them, I think I'll use the equal tool. And up here, you can dimension them if you want. And we're going to make that side equal to that side. And now that one turned black. Go figure. I don't know. And that bottom edge equal to that bottom edge. And this bottom edge equal to that bottom edge. And they're all good. All right. Now we're going to finish our sketch. And we're going to extrude this. Now it is important that we extrude it away from where we know the top to be. So I can turn that on again, but I don't. But if you hover over it, it'll show you where it is. So I need to come towards myself from this orientation. Extrude, click. Okay, now it does want to go the right way. Now, it's seeing all of this stuff from the other part, which I don't know why it does that, but I'm going to click on things I don't want. I don't want that. Okay, this gets a little tricky if you need to hover it towards yourself. I don't want these 2 holes. Click. And I don't want those 2 holes. So you should be left with just what we were looking at before, with 4 of the hexagons and the 1 circle. And now next is I do want to make it a new part. So do not add, make it new. Check. Cool. All right. Oops. I made it an inch thick. I didn't mean to do that. We can always go back and edit, double check the extrusion. I meant to make it 0.25. All right, cool. And now let's name our parts. And that's the last thing. We're going to turn back on part 1. Good, that's looking good, looking the way I want it to be. And let's rename part 1 as bottom plate. And let's rename part 2 no, I'm sorry. Let's rename that again. I meant to do that as top plate and bottom plate. Sorry. And rename part 2 as bottom plate. All right, good start. That was a little bit long of a video, but we've got ourselves started. By the way, you can make these any color you want. You don't have to make them what the default is. And next time we'll get going on making the stuff that goes with this. All right, have a good day. See you next time.